Alright, so I'm just going to do a tear down of this Okuma Alaris. This is 20 size. Reel X, some grease. I bought this reel like 3 or 4 years ago because it was $15 on Amazon instead of $30. I had extremely low expectations for it, but I gotta say, it's a super smooth reel, and it has been my go-to ultralight reel for these 4 years. There's been nothing else. It's just good. I've never ever cracked it open. I've never tuned it up at all. So this should be interesting to see what it looks like, because I did get it dunked, submerged in the water, like fully submerged once by accident. Yeah, that's better. That's a little weird. What is that? Oil? Why is there oil there? Again, I've never cracked this open. And it is 4 years old. I've probably caught about 1,500 fish on it. At least 1,000 in that time frame, because this is usually what I'm throwing to catch crappie, and I use like gulp minnows and stuff like that. So I am going to have to take this off. Just a plastic washer. With a friction fit. I don't want to damage it. I have other ones, but they're not as thick as this, so I have to build that up. Alright, so what I'm going to do is just... Interestingly, there's no locking screw on this. And it loosens clockwise. It's all clean. Put that like that. Let's see what it looks like underneath this clutch cover. It's clean there. Okay, that bearing looks pretty dry. I don't want to take that out just yet. Yeah, I got one more screw right there. Pretty clean in there. And there isn't really any grease on the gears, just a little bit there. The bearings look kind of dirty, to tell you the truth. Yeah, it's a lot of grease on that. It's got a lot of oil in there. Why does it have so much oil? It's kind of crazy. Alright, so I'm going to take this out. It's not dirty. And I think this needs to come out next. I don't want to take this out. I'm just going to clean up in here. I'm going to soak all these and clean all this stuff out. It's quite bad. Alright, I gotta get some. I'm gonna say this reel had way too much grease on it. It's so weird. This bearing is like locked in place on the main gear. Anyways, what I'm gonna do is soak these parts. I'm gonna soak them in WD-40.
range is pretty clean now. Just cut some of the gunk off that.
Okay, I think we need to go in reverse order. I'm trying to remember exactly what it was. But we'll start like this. Next, I'm going to put this one in. Before I do that, I'm going to put a little bit of relax on the bearing. Let's see if I can get it in that way. It's funny, like this had so much grease on it. It was like it was going to be used in salt water. You just really don't need that much, especially for fresh water. It's probably even a little too much itself, but give it a try. Oh yeah. Now remember, I think I need to put that in first and then this one. Just going to spin that around to get the new grease distributed. Put these shims back on. Just a little bit of grease in between. Okay. Make sure that's tight. Now the next one will be this. And I am going to put some grease back on the inside of this because there's a lot of motion going on there. Put some on the outside. Try to put this back through. Just getting it lined up so I can I'm wondering if I've got it going in backwards. I don't think I do. You know why? Because there we go. There we go. That's the way it goes. You kind of got to do all three pieces together. All right, and just looking at this mechanism, because there is no metal support here, I am going to put extra grease down here to allow the movement back and forth on this metal piece there. Okay, so with that in place, bearing back on, and first I'm just gonna put a couple drops of Real-X. You could use whatever oil you want. I happen to like Real-X quite a bit after, you know, using many different ones over the years. And all right, next I'm going to put some fresh grease on this. Nice clean grease. Not a lot, just enough. And you gotta make sure you don't want grease on this collar, because that is what's going to be up against the anti-reverse clutch. So take that out. I'm going to hold this assembly together. You know what? Should probably put some because this assembly is going to sit on the inside. And I'm going to go the last bearing. And I often feel like this is the one that you feel the most when when you're judging if a rail feels smooth or not. This is the bearing that most of the time is the one that you're talking about. Okay. Just spin that around a little bit. Okay, now since this is clean, I'm just going to put it right back on. Just double checking I'm not missing any parts as I go. There is a screw here. Yeah. See, that one goes right there. Double checking, still spinning good. All right, next I'm gonna put, no, it's the wrong one. What did I do? Oh my god, dumbass. Probably just stretch that. Oh, fuck. Oh, that one goes there. It's alright, I got more of those. Okay. Now, inevitably, are these all exactly the same? Yes, they're all exactly the same. And before I go much further, I'm going to put this in and see how it feels, just to make sure I got everything together nice and tight. Break this in a little bit. Ooh, that feels good. I mean, it always felt good, but now it feels extra good. grease in a little bit. And based off the way it looked, you know, this probably get like another 4 or 5 years out of that reel if I want to, which I probably will, because I've got no complaints about it. Let me just take a quick look at the drag stack. Yeah, it's really simple. It's one felt washer and then a metal one, and the felt washer is not dried up at all. So I'm just going to leave it as is. I'm not going to re-oil it. Just wipe off that washer a little bit, and I'll put this back on. That's completely fine. It's got a good drag. It's felt, but it's decent felt. And you know what? A lot of Daiwa actually just use felt anyways. Like the Fuego's felt. So don't get completely hung up in that carbon fiber thing. Okay, and just one last thing that I kind of forgot, which is really worthwhile looking at, is the roller bushing. Most likely on a cheap reel, it's going to be a bushing and not a bearing. And I actually, even on expensive reels, I prefer a bushing and not a bearing. Let's just kind of be careful taking it apart. This is pretty dry. Yeah, so this is, yeah, it's a plastic bushing, which again is what I like, but it's like bone dry. Yeah, so what this does is when you reel it in, the line coming back on the spool goes over this part here. Well, I mean, technically this part. So it's worthwhile cleaning it up and adding just a teeny bit of grease. Oops, just saw there's a washer that came out there. Yeah, it does have some buildup. It's just dirt. Over 4 years it'll happen. And that's one of the, probably the most exposed part. But it is the easiest one to clean up too. So that's, I mean, it's pros and cons, right? That usually does the trick. Move a little bit around the end. And yeah, that's okay. I was just checking to see the way it's going to sit. You really don't need a lot. Spin it around. Just make sure you put it back on the right way. I put that washer on the wrong side. This should be on the outside. Cool. And I think we're done. One thing I just like to do after doing any work on a roller bearing or roller bushing is to get a really good look to see if it spins freely. And one way you can do it if you're having a hard time seeing is just put a dot on it with a permanent marker. It will come off in time.